Another video by Citizen Kate and parentheses Will, who does not exist, by the way. Let's just get that out there. Will is a figment of everybody's imagination, and she's using that as a protective zone for, you know, creeps out there. Creepers. And, you know, good job, Kate, for doing that. We appreciate that. That's a smart girl right there. Now, she's got the new Aegis Redeemer gunship, and we're going to watch this video, but we're also going to get the opinion as to the Redeemer with Avenger 1. Welcome. Thank you for that subscription. Instigator. I like the camera angles here. I like the camera angles here.
Then we don't have to open and close the door.
She's taking a beating. Perhaps she's giving a beating. Oh, the next video we're gonna watch about Avenger 1 saying that it is not OP. So this I want to give you guys both sides. It's looking pretty tight though, the visuals. I mean, damn.
Now down to 1,000 right now.
It's looking pretty effective. It's one of those ships that are going to have to be effective in the Atmo. It's going to be, you know, designated like a drop ship. It's got to be able to fly in Atmo. It's got to be able to put some hurt onto ground units. Looks like it's doing a pretty good job, at least in this video, but that might be just editing. We'll see.
Oh, shit.
Uh-huh. Redeemer kicking ass, yeah. That's what it's looking like here. Execute pointing some great things. Execute pointing out some great things. I like it. I'm getting some information in the chat. Yes. Okay. Now, let us see what Avenger 1 has to say about the Redeemer. Now, I'm very interested in what he has to say. He is a PvPer. He is one of the best instructional PvPers of Star Citizen out right now. And I want to hear him talk about the Redeemer.
Oh, my God. Where do I even get started with this thing?
Uh-oh, I feel a rant.
I'm going to save you guys all the... I'm going to save you guys about 5 minutes here. I hate the Redeemer.
Whoa.
Now, you're probably thinking, well, what do you mean, Avenger? Do you hate it because it's really bad or because it's really good or the classification of the ship? Like, what's the deal here? And I guess we can just kind of get started. Now, obviously, Star Citizen in its current balanced state is in a particularly interesting spot when it comes to turrets and other aspects. This fight here, we're just testing again. We've got a full crew, all the guns are manned, and we've got a nice pre-nose to close the distance, and boom, there goes the Eclipse. But I kind of want to just talk about the ship itself. Currently in 315 on PTU, the Redeemer has 2 size 3 shields, along with, in my opinion, very strong translational movement. And what I mean by translational movement, I mean, look at how fast it was able to pull that corner. I pulled that corner. If we might be able to actually back that up, but if you watch this next corner, watch the little plus, like the greater than, less than vector indicator. Watch how fast that pulls around now. I pre-nose my way in, I broadside, right? Again, broadsiding the turrets so that as he closes in, I mean, again, this is an Ares heavy fighter. As soon as I get the spot I want, whoop, I just pull my vector right on target, and I'm boom, and I close the distance. And just like that,
Thank you, Kill
a heavy
Devil.
fighter designed to kill big stuff like the Redeemer gets absolutely fucking shredded. We thought, okay, let's test the Vanguard. Then maybe something a little more maneuverable, something that's a little more of a purebred fighter might have a chance. But you'll see here,
He did say PTU. I wonder if this is an old video. If this is, hold on a second. Let's look at this. No, this is November 16th here, and he's testing this out. And I have heard a lot of people saying that the maneuvering of the Redeemer is slow. However, he's saying that it's quite quick and nimble. So now I'm confused. Now I'm confused.
Not go well for the Vanguard either. Currently, the only way I can describe this thing is I feel like this thing is like the ultimate pay to win ship. It's like a faster, more
So I bet here's what happened on this. I bet that this is prior to the changes when, like, am I correct on this? They slowed it last patch significantly. Okay, so this is what I'm guessing, and I hope that I am correct here, but best educated guess says that like the movement and the maneuverability that we're seeing here that he's talking about is prior to what has happened on the most recent patch, at least what I'm gathering. So they probably slowed it down because of the comments of PvPers like Avenger 1. Perhaps.
It's like a Vanguard met the a Vanguard met the Hurricane, a Vanguard met the Hammerhead and had some weird love child that has basically the same shielding as a Corvette and better guns than any heavy fighter in its class, and a maneuverability profile that, if you look here, is able to compete with
I mean, as far as it having like the ability to withstand a lot more damage than normal, I would say it's probably because it's a dropship and it has to worry about AA, anti-air, and it has to be able to handle hits from anti-air ground units. So perhaps that's why they've structured it to have higher amounts of power, because the function of this is to be more of a ground assault, kind of like taking units down. If it's not designed as a dropship anymore, then what are we classifying the ship now as, Lou? Like, if we're not saying that Redeemer is a dropship anymore, then what are we classifying this as? A heavy fighter? Because a gunship, just a straight gunship. Okay. All right. So as a straight gunship, would it not be smart or intelligent to be using this in atmosphere? At least down dropping units. It looks to me like it still handles a fair amount of units. I mean, how many can you fit in this thing? He still has the 6 seats inside the Redeemer, correct? I mean, being four seats now from 6. Okay. Yeah, that. Questionable. I mean, as a CEO and somebody that will eventually do ops, I'd probably use it still as a functional ship in atmosphere to bring units into the foray. But I mean, that's just me, Yeah. Execute is saying PvP fighters, they have a ship that counters them finally. Lou's saying gunships are basically glass cannons by definition. Hurricane owners are mad now. Well, let's keep watching. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, with the heavy amount of damage it can take, I don't think that's going to ever change. I think they'll continue to keep on those shields. And, if that's the case, then I know it'll be able to handle a heavy amount of damage, and therefore I'll probably use it in more of a air-to-ground situation. And again, that's just speaking as a CEO of an organization, and I'm trying to find a functional role for this ship. I think that, for me, I'd probably use this in operations where I would need units taken from point A to point B, like in operations that are air to ground type missions. That's just me.
Fucking heavy fighters. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like this corner right here, I'm full up strafe boost. I'm able to pull my vector around, and I'm able to stay with a Vanguard as he's trying to disengage
absolutely,
there. He
Bert,
figures out that he
absolutely.
can't get away from me, so he tries to turn the circle fight around, but it doesn't matter because I've got turrets out the wazoo that just auto gimbal right onto him, and it's over. So this is funny here. I thought, okay, this thing is disgusting. So I decided to take it on myself. I thought, okay, surely a Hurricane with a gunner will have a chance against the Redeemer, right? I mean, I can solo hammerheads easily in a Hurricane, along with pretty much every other ship in the game. There's really no other ship in the game that can handle the Hurricane, except for the Redeemer, apparently, because this video is sped up 4 times faster just so that you guys aren't sitting here for 20 minutes trying to find out what the fuck you're seeing. And if you can tell, obviously I can't get close. I can't close the distance closer than 1,000 meters, because if I close to within 1,000 meters, what ends up happening is you basically just get auto gimbaled to the ground because the turrets have that 20-degree tracking zone. So the only viable choice to fight a ship like this is to fight it at range and to just slowly chip it away. But again, what happens?
But then again, isn't it designed and built for units to come to it? Isn't it one of those types of ships that gravitates like a magnet, like people will go to it and shoot at it, and therefore you shouldn't be going out chasing other ships to shoot with this ship? I mean, like, it seems to me like the original design of this being a dropship is being inserted into the actual mechanics of the ship, that portions of the actual original design are still in this ship, to the point where, like, this ship wasn't supposed to go out and hunt other fighters. This ship was supposed to originally be a dropship and to have guns around it to defend it, because the line of thinking in game design was that it was going to hold people and that it was going to be a dropship, so it needed a lot of guns and therefore was likely going to be targeted quite often and needed to defend itself. So, you know, like, the criticism is actually very justified if in fact we're changing this to a gunship. If we're changing this to a gunship, then yeah, you have to start thinking about what it is you want. You can't have both ends of the spectrum on a ship like this. And that's really what I see as a confusion in design. So it comes down to when in the development of the ship, in the game development, is they're trying to fulfill both roles at the same time in a half-assed manner, and they're going to have to make a decision on exactly the role that this should be. Now, whether this is mistakenly actually labeled as a gunship from content creators, or like Board Gamer said, oh, this is a gunship, and then everybody jumps on the fucking bandwagon and says it's a gunship because Board Gamer said it, or whatever. I'm not saying that actually happened, but perhaps that's something that happened, or through conversations on Spectrum, this somehow got changed into a gunship. Then you have to realize exactly what Avenger is bitching about in this video is the fact that this was never really truly designed in its inception to go after and like hit targets as if it was a gunship. It was actually supposed to go and drop units from point A to point B, therefore being like a higher valuable a high value target where things are going to go after it and shoot it right off the bat, just because it's holding cargo, people, precious, you know, military units, and therefore needed the guns to defend itself because things were just going to fly into it. So, you know, there's where I'm at right now.
Happens when the ship has the ability to close distance against me. So sometimes I'm on the defensive here because I don't want him getting too close to me. So there's a lot of backstrafing going on. There's a lot of distance control going on. There's a lot of kiting going on. Because if I close distance, it's over. And you'll see here, he gets a few hits on me, and I'm still struggling in the Hurricane to take the shield.
Yeah, and this is kind of where this comes into like context, right? So like, it's that Avenger thinks this is a ship that's going to go out and be a hunter, like a hunter ship, just going after ships and being able to. And he's a PvPer. He should think that way. That's how PvPers think, right? On a higher level, on a tactical level, right? This reminds me, like everything that I'm seeing here reminds me that this is still a dropship. It's a good argument to be had that its initial inception of a dropship still stands, at least to me.
Shields down on a fucking Redeemer. It's very frustrating. Is the best way I can say it, because the amount of skill required to fly a Redeemer, I would say is, you know, it's not very high, especially when it comes to using the turrets. There's almost no skill necessary to use the turrets. And if you have a basic understanding, if you've been watching my videos, if you have a basic understanding of movement and like fighting inside the bubble or just getting any
Great PvPer, understand where he's coming from as a PvPer, but you know, like, again, I think we have to look at the inception of what this ship was supposed to do and question its role. We have to go back to the drawing board and question its role, because, you know, you're going to have a lot of PvPers out there that are trying to PvP in a ship like this. And truly, as we can see with what we're seeing in terms of the mechanics of the Redeemer, it is not a ship that is supposed to go out and just hunt ships. It is actually a ship that's supposed to be able to defend itself. And because it's supposed to be able to defend itself against targets, because it's a high value target, the Redeemer is, it just begs the argument of this is still a dropship. Just saying. All right, going back to the show.